This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 26th day of June in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking tonight. By a margin of 6-1, the judges on the Caribbean Court of Justice today ruled that the amendments to the Guyana Constitution, which essentially limit the number of times a person could be elected president, were properly done. The court has overturned the decision of the Guyana High Court and the Guyana Court of Appeal, which had ruled that the amendments were unconstitutional. The president of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Sir Dennis Byron, delivered the ruling.
All 7 judges of the Caribbean Court of Justice heard the appeal. They upheld the constitutionality of the amendment by a 6 as prescribed by those articles. All 7 judges of the Caribbean Court of Justice heard the appeal. They upheld the constitutionality of the amendment by a 6-1 majority. All judges of the court agreed that Articles 1 and 9 could be altered by implication. However, their views varied on whether there had been implied alteration of the articles. The majority decision was embodied in the separate judgments of President Sir Dennis Byron, Mr. Justice Adrian Saunders, and Mr. Justice Jacob Witt. A detailed dissent was delivered by Mr. Justice Winston Anderson.
The CCJ's Justice Winston Anderson was the lone dissenting voice in the case. He posited that he believed the issue should have been put to a referendum to ensure that power remained with the people. The other judges did not agree with that position, and in their opinion, the changes to the Constitution were done correctly. The appeal was taken to the CCJ by the government of Guyana after local courts had ruled that it was unconstitutional for the National Assembly to limit the number of times a person could be elected president of Guyana. It was under the PPP civic government that a restriction on seeking a third term was introduced and unanimously passed in the National Assembly. That was more than 15 years ago. However, it was not until just before the last elections that an unknown man in the name of Cedric Richardson filed a case challenging the presidential term limit. The local courts sided with him, and that resulted in the CCJ becoming the next stop to make a final decision. Although he has repeatedly denied that he is behind the case, it is widely thought that former President and opposition leader Bartica was the architect of the case, since he is the only former president who is restricted from seeking a third term. Still with that CCJ ruling, the legal team which represented the government of Guyana in the case has welcomed the court's decision in upholding the changes that were made to the Constitution. Solicitor General Kim Kite and Barbadian attorneys Ralph Thorne and Hal Gallup celebrated as they watched the ruling via Skype at the Guyana Court of Appeal building. The full court of the CCJ sat to hear the case with 6 of the 7 justices upholding the state appeal, while a lone justice in the person of Winston Charles Anderson dissented. The government's attorneys offered their views on the ruling.
We feel vindicated. We always believed in our arguments. We have been very strong in our arguments in the High Court, in the Court of Appeal, and we are very happy that a well-reasoned decision, very sound decision of the CCJ has basically upheld what we have been saying for all these years.
In 2001, the National Assembly passed Act No. 17 of 2001 following a bipartisan constitution reform process. The act saw the amendment of Article 90 of the 1980 Constitution, which essentially blocked a third term. Let's tell you now that Guyana's Foreign Affairs Minister Carl Greenidge is convinced that backtrack traveling is responsible for the absence of official departure records for thousands of foreign nationals who entered Guyana legally but cannot be found. Yesterday, Mr. Greenidge responded to concerns raised at the Parliamentary Sectorial Committee on Foreign Affairs, where it was revealed that over 17,000 Cubans and 5,000 Haitians who entered Guyana between 2013 and 2018 are unaccounted for. The foreign minister said what is known is that the Haitians are using Guyana as a stopover for their continuing journey to French Guyana. He said the opposition members in the committee are being melodramatic when it comes to the issue. The minister said Guyana has never properly monitored the backtrack operations, where persons use various ports to leave the country to neighboring countries.
If we had known the exact extent of the backtrack traveling, we could stop it. This is one of those areas that you just are aware of it, we have no means of monitoring all the exits from Guyana. People have escaped from Guyana over the years. You know, this is part and parcel of having a long set of borders and a small population.
Greenwich also rejected the assertion by Chair of the Parliamentary Committee, Gail Teixeira, that persons could very well be part of a major human trafficking ring. He said Teixeira knows the situation is nothing of the sort. In the courts, a domestic worker who was recently nabbed with over 5 pounds of marijuana, along with 3 pounds of cocaine stashed in her home, was today remanded to jail following her first appearance before a city magistrate. 50-year-old Roxanne Carrington appeared in the courtroom of the Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan and entered a plea of not guilty to the charges when they were read to her. The court was told that on the 23rd of June at Old Road, Bartica, the woman had in her possession 2,555 grams of marijuana, along with 1,451 grams of cocaine for the purpose of trafficking. Attorney at law Latmi Muhammad, in her application for bail, cited that her client was never found with possession of the illegal items. She noted that her client only rented the rooms where the drugs were found, and that there were 2 persons from the interior region who were actually the persons staying in the rooms. The police prosecutor, however, stated that the facts from the police are different, and on the day in question, the police went to the home of the accused and found the items hidden in her bedroom. Still in the courts, a laborer who repeatedly maintained that his ex-lover fell on a knife that he had in his possession and he did not stab her was committed to stand a high court trial for attempted murder. The accused, Cleveland Williams, offered an apology to his ex-lover in court as he made an application for bail. He said he would like to be able to earn a salary so he could pay support for his children and pay his attorney fees. The magistrate denied bail. It was back in April that the police responded to reports of an altercation in the Durban Street area between the accused and his ex-lover, Lashana Boyce. When the police arrived at the scene, they found the woman bleeding with multiple stab wounds and rushed her to the hospital. The woman was attacked by the man just after she dropped off her child at school. The man left her on the road and ran from the scene, but was cornered and arrested. Throughout the preliminary inquiry, the accused told the court that it was an accident and he never stabbed the woman. The magistrate did not buy that story and told him a strong enough case has been made out against him. He will now face a judge and jury. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.